Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
A couple days ago, I did the story about how Graceland was being foreclosed upon, according to news reports. That, of course, is the famous home that Elvis Presley bought and lived in for quite some time. And, of course, now is sort of a museum. And if you go to Memphis, you can visit Graceland, and I've done that myself. And so the interesting thing about the story was that a foreclosure was scheduled. And then, of course, Elvis's granddaughter, who is in charge of the place now, said, no, the property was never mortgaged, and these documents appear to be forgeries that have been filed to somehow substantiate the claim to foreclose. And so they ran to court and asked for an injunction to stop the sale. And that was where we were in the video that I did, because I said that I shot the video and posted it the morning of the hearing, and I said, of course, the hearing will happen later today. We'll see what happens. So now the hearing has happened, and a whole bunch of stuff has happened. And it's interesting because it turns out that the judge said, well, this looks interesting. I think I'll grant the injunction and hold off on that foreclosure just a little bit to see what's going on here. And then, of course, the people who were asking for the foreclosure backed off and said, you know something, we've changed our minds. We're going to drop our foreclosure action. Now, interestingly, the granddaughter had already filed a counterclaim. So if you sue somebody and they counterclaim you, countersuit, just because you drop your suit does not mean they got to drop theirs. So I'm not quite sure exactly how that's all going to play out. But now people are asking all kinds of questions. And so peoplemagazine.com, people.com, has got this story, but it's all over the news. And the question is, who is this investment company? It's a mysterious company at the center of the Graceland mortgage sale foreclosure dispute. It was halted, that foreclosure, on Wednesday by a judge in Memphis. Now, Rachel DeSantis wrote this version of it, and Riley Keough filed documents looking to halt the apparent sale of Graceland. All eyes were on the defendants, because who were they? It's a company name that I've never seen before in my life. I'm not even sure if I could pronounce it properly, but it's not like a major lender. And what connection did they have with the property, if any? Well, it turns out that no one can figure this out. So Keough inherited Graceland when her mother, Lisa Marie, died in 2023. She wrote in her legal filings that she and her legal team believed that the company that was foreclosing was a false entity created for the purpose of defrauding the Presleys. Though the company claimed to have made Lisa Marie a $3.8 million loan that she did not repay, where the Graceland was the collateral, Keough's filing said her mother's signatures on the apparent standard promissory note and a deed of trust were forged, and the woman that company claimed notarized the documents said that she'd never met Lisa Marie. So on Wednesday, a judge in Memphis halted the foreclosure sale of Graceland, which had been scheduled for Thursday, and hours later, someone who claimed to run the company emailed Keough's attorney saying that he'd be withdrawing his claim on Graceland. So, of course, withdrawing your claim, that means, I presume, not going through with that. But, of course, I do believe that Keough had filed a lawsuit. Now, I said earlier a counterclaim, and I think actually this was a non-judicial sale, so there was no actual lawsuit filed. So when the various notices regarding the mortgage were made in the foreclosure, then Keough went to court and asked for an injunction. If she'd asked for damages and so on, which I'm assuming she did, just because they're withdrawing their claim doesn't mean they're scot-free. So the investment company remains shrouded in mystery. Company has no internet presence, no social media or website, no email addresses linked to the company. Court documents end in anything important and appear to be like Outlook and Hotmail email addresses, not a business website. Court documents list the company as having a P.O. box in Missouri, and there's also a return address listed on a copy of something that apparently mailed to Lisa Marie, but the address is a U.S. Postal Service location in Jacksonville, Florida, and not a business office. The Secretary of State's offices in both Missouri and Florida found no businesses registered with this name, according to Fox 13 Memphis. So it's a big mystery. Meanwhile, the man who's listed as a defendant in Keough's filing, as her attorneys claim, he sent numerous emails trying to collect $3.8 million and threatening to sell Graceland. But when reached by people via an email listed in the court documents, he responded, please do not contact, and shared an email for somebody else that bounced back when emails were sent to it. And so somebody told NBC News that they left the company in 2015 and that it was the other one who handled all the loans with Ms. Presley. Meanwhile, they later followed up with the outlet saying that they knew Lisa Marie for years but never did any loans for her. So that's strange. Meanwhile, People has been searching, that is the magazine and the entity, in public databases, found no contact information for the one person who appears to be behind this, though someone claiming to be him reached out to Keogh's attorneys confirming that he did not intend to move forward with the company's claim. Meanwhile, that person also allegedly sent an email confirming the same information to the Memphis Commercial Appeal, though the outlet said the message was riddled with grammatical errors. And the investment company could possibly face federal charges for fraud, a source tells People. The FBI Memphis division did not confirm or deny the investigation, and the Office of the U.S. Attorney had no comment on the possibility when reached by People. But many news outlets are reporting that the FBI and other organizations that investigate crimes are looking into this. Because this, as you might know, is a scam that's been going around in this manner with just regular people whose homes are foreclosed upon, who say, what are you talking about? I own it free and clear. Well, no, there's this mortgage you signed 5 years ago and you never made a payment on it. And sometimes the entire thing is a scam, or sometimes somebody else mortgaged the property and got away with it somehow. But this just happened to be such a famous piece of property, and people behind it are going to fight to keep that property. So according to a source, if an investigation does take place, it'd be conducted by the FBI along with the DOJ, Memphis Bureau, and possibly the state of Tennessee. The DOJ would indict the individuals if the person was found to be fraudulent, and arrests could be made. In case you're curious, Elvis bought Graceland in 1957 for $102,500. He lived there for the next 20 years until his death in 1977. The property was opened to the public in 1982. And a little factoid I like to throw in on stories like this is that car right there that's a model of a car driven by Bobby Isaac, NASCAR champion, in 1970. And he died the same week as Elvis Presley in 1977. And so I remember when Elvis Presley died. And at the time, I was not a big NASCAR fan, so I was unaware of the fact that Bobby Isaac died the same week. But I remember doing research on Bobby Isaac's life. And when I was looking at all the newspaper coverage of his death, which was a big, big deal in North Carolina, it was overshadowed a bit by Elvis's death that week also. So it's a fascinating story, and it's bizarre. But I'm hoping that things like this will draw more attention to the fact that, unfortunately, these kinds of things are too easy to do. And I'm not calling this one yet because I don't know what happened here. Sounds sketchy. But the problem we have is that documents regarding land titles are very, very easy to forge, easy to file, and there are a lot of scams that happen just like this, but to people other than descendants of Elvis Presley. So I hope that this draws a little more attention to these kinds of problems. But as of right now, Graceland is safe from foreclosure. It's unclear if Riley Keough is going to continue with her legal action against the people who are trying to foreclose on it. Kind of hope she does, because that'll allow her to kind of shake the bushes a bit to see what pops out. But then again, it might just be the DOJ and the FBI are going to investigate, because this is something that's so high profile, they can't really ignore it, right? So again, crazy story. People.com, Rachel DeSantis wrote that. Headline is, who is behind the investment company? The mysterious company at the center of the Graceland sale and foreclosure dispute. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Come on, Ross, you're a paleontologist. Dig a little deeper.